this episode, we're going to build on measurement and move into something even more important: reinforcement. Training that happens once and is never revisited fades quickly, no matter how well it was designed. People forget details, habits slip back to old patterns, and new threats emerge that were never covered in the original material. If the goal is real risk reduction, then skills must be reinforced over time in ways that fit how people actually work. Reinforcement is what turns awareness into durable behavior, especially when it is tailored to roles, supported by coaching, and strengthened through timely feedback that connects actions to outcomes. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A useful starting point is understanding how people learn and retain information. Most people do not change behavior because of a single exposure to content. They change because they encounter the same core ideas repeatedly in different contexts and are reminded of them close to the moment of decision. This is especially true for security, where the risky moment is often brief and unexpected, such as an urgent email, a pop-up authentication prompt, or a request to share sensitive data. If reinforcement does not happen near those moments, the training remains abstract. Skill reinforcement bridges the gap between theory and action by keeping key behaviors visible and relevant over time. Role-based focus is one of the most powerful reinforcement strategies because risk exposure is not evenly distributed across the organization. A system administrator with privileged access faces different risks than a marketing coordinator, and a finance manager approving payments faces different risks than a customer support representative. Reinforcing the same generic message for everyone can create fatigue without improving high-risk behaviors. Instead, reinforcement should align with the specific decisions each role makes. For example, finance staff may receive periodic reminders about payment verification procedures and real examples of recent fraud attempts. Technical staff may receive reinforcement about privileged access controls and safe configuration practices. This targeted approach increases relevance and improves retention. Role-based reinforcement also supports accountability because it clarifies expectations. When employees understand that certain behaviors are directly tied to their responsibilities, they are more likely to internalize them. A manager who knows that approving urgent changes without proper review increases operational risk may pause more often before bypassing controls. A developer who receives reinforcement about secure coding habits tied to recent vulnerability findings may adjust design choices earlier. Reinforcement becomes a way to connect security expectations directly to job performance, not as an external demand, but as part of professional practice. Coaching is another essential reinforcement mechanism because it adds human interaction to learning. Automated training and reminders are useful, but personal feedback often has greater impact. Coaching does not require formal classroom sessions. It can happen when a supervisor discusses a recent near miss in a team meeting or when a security professional provides supportive guidance after an employee reports a suspicious message. The tone of coaching matters greatly. When coaching is constructive and focused on improvement, employees are more receptive. When it is punitive or dismissive, it discourages openness and reduces reporting behavior. Timely feedback is what transforms an incident or near miss into a learning opportunity. Feedback is most effective when it is delivered close to the event because the context is still fresh. For example, if an employee reports a suspicious email, acknowledging that report and explaining why it was or was not malicious reinforces good judgment. If someone falls for a simulated phishing message, providing immediate, clear explanation of the cues they missed helps them adjust behavior. Delayed feedback loses impact because the connection between action and consequence fades. Timely reinforcement strengthens memory and increases the likelihood of different choices next time. Repetition does not mean repeating the exact same message in the exact same format. Variety supports engagement while reinforcing the same core behaviors. Short reminders, scenario discussions, targeted emails, or brief check-ins during meetings can all serve as reinforcement channels. The key is consistency in the message, even if the format changes. When employees hear the same guidance across different contexts, it begins to feel like part of organizational culture rather than a temporary campaign. That cultural integration is what makes secure behavior more automatic and less dependent on conscious effort. Another important concept is reinforcing positive behavior, not only correcting mistakes. When employees make secure choices, such as reporting quickly or asking for verification before approving a request, those actions should be acknowledged. Recognition does not have to be elaborate. Even a simple thank you message or mention in a team update reinforces that secure behavior is valued. Positive reinforcement strengthens habits and reduces the perception that security is only about pointing out errors. When people see that secure behavior is noticed and appreciated, they are more likely to repeat it. Metrics can guide reinforcement by identifying where skills need strengthening. If measurement shows that a particular team has higher rates of risky behavior or lower reporting rates, reinforcement efforts can focus there. This data-driven approach prevents blanket messaging that may not address real weaknesses. It also allows reinforcement to evolve as risk patterns change. For instance, if a new type of social engineering attack becomes common, reinforcement messaging can adapt quickly to highlight that threat. Flexibility ensures that reinforcement remains aligned with current risk rather than outdated assumptions. Leaders play a critical role in reinforcing security skills over time. When leaders mention security in regular communications, model cautious behavior, and respond calmly to reported concerns, they reinforce expectations more powerfully than any training module. Employees watch what leaders prioritize. If leaders ignore policy violations for convenience or speed, reinforcement efforts weaken. If leaders demonstrate patience and adherence to procedure even under pressure, reinforcement becomes visible in action. Leadership consistency turns reinforcement from messaging into lived example. Psychological safety is also crucial for effective reinforcement. Employees must feel comfortable admitting uncertainty or mistakes. If reinforcement only appears after failure and is delivered harshly, people may hide errors instead of seeking help. A culture that treats mistakes as opportunities to learn encourages reporting and transparency. This transparency strengthens security because issues are surfaced earlier and addressed faster. Reinforcement in a psychologically safe environment supports growth rather than fear. Reinforcement should also evolve with changes in technology and threat landscape. As new tools are introduced, employees may face unfamiliar risks. Reinforcement can help them understand how to use new systems safely. As attackers adopt new tactics, reinforcement can highlight updated warning signs. Keeping reinforcement current prevents it from becoming stale or disconnected from reality. When employees see that messaging adapts to real events, they are more likely to pay attention because it feels relevant. Another effective strategy is integrating reinforcement into existing workflows rather than treating it as an extra task. For example, brief security reminders can be included in project kickoff meetings or change approval processes. Short checklists can reinforce secure decision points during routine operations. Embedding reinforcement into normal activities reduces resistance and increases consistency. It also reinforces the idea that security is part of work, not separate from it. Finally, reinforcement should be continuous but not overwhelming. Overloading employees with constant alerts and reminders can cause fatigue. The balance lies in providing enough repetition to strengthen habits without creating noise. Prioritizing the most impactful behaviors helps maintain focus. When reinforcement is purposeful and targeted, it feels supportive rather than intrusive. Employees are more likely to engage with messages that respect their time and attention. To conclude, reinforcing skills over time requires more than repeating annual training. It demands role-based focus that aligns guidance with real responsibilities, coaching that supports growth, and timely feedback that connects actions to outcomes. Positive reinforcement, leadership modeling, psychological safety, and data-driven adjustments all strengthen behavior change. When reinforcement is continuous, relevant, and integrated into daily work, security habits become durable rather than temporary. That durability is what transforms awareness into lasting resilience, reducing risk not just during training season, but throughout the entire year.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.